Sometimes phonics are really badly taught, and there are two things which really annoy me. The first one is when teachers use meaningless words. Now, of course, for EAL children, many words are meaningless. They've never met them before. So we should only use words within the vocabulary of the particular children we're teaching. And the other thing is teachers forget that children can't hear the differences. That I came across some Pakistani children who couldn't hear the difference between pat and pet. Well, it's no good teaching, the three-letter words with E and A in them if they actually can't hear the difference. So I want to look at a couple of activities that I've devised which address those two problems. First, I'd like to tell you about my pat, pet, pit, pot, put game. Here it is. Comes out like this when you print it out, and of course you then cut it into little squares. So I've got some here. And the idea is that each child should collect all 5 of those words. And of course you'll realise that all of those words have only got one difference between them. They all start with p and they end with t, and in the middle is the single vowel, the short vowel. Okay, so I'm going to turn to these 3 children. Here's a child here, and it's a little girl. I'm going to ask her, would you like... Now, I don't show her the word. I only show her the back of the card, because this is a listening exercise. So, would you like pat? Well, of course, she hasn't got any cards, so of course she says, yes, please. And I give it to her. Yes, please. I'm teaching polite English at the same time. Now I turn to you, and I say to you, would you like, again, I don't show you the word, would you like pit? And of course you would, and you say, yes, please, and so you get pit. Then the boy here, and I say, would you like pet? And he says, yes, please, and he gets pet. And I carry on like this. So the next girl, first girl again, would you like put? Yes, please, and she gets put. So she's got 2. And then I come to you, and I say to you, would you like pit? And you say, ah, last time you collected pit. So if you say, yes, please, I will take the pit you've already got away. But if of course you say no thank you, you won't get anything. And so I go round and round until one child has collected all of those cards. And I recently had an email from, and I can't remember who it was from, who said, we've just been playing your pit pat pot game and it was hilarious, thank you very much. So I think with some children you'll have some fun. Okay, so that's my first game, enjoy it. Here are some more examples of the same activity. I was working with some Bangladeshi children and I realised that they were saying aeroplane instead of aeroplane. And so I put together this activity which focuses on the P and F, the P and F sounds. There are 8 cards to collect this time, but of course you might only choose to use 4 or 6 cards. And of course everybody knows about the problem that many Oriental people have when it comes to distinguishing between L and R, L and R, in their speech. And so here's another one that I devised for them. And finally, I found some children who couldn't pronounce the difference between S and Sh, S and SH, and so here's a final example. All I'm suggesting that you do is listen out for problems that your pupils might have and quickly devise one of these activities for them. Well, I said I would show you an activity to help use words that the children already know, words that are within their vocabulary. So come to my table and I'll show you the activity. As you know, at the heart of Racing to English are 55 photo sets, which, when you print them out, look like this, and then of course you cut them up to make various games. And this is one of the very first ones from the very first step, and it's teaching the words bird, cat and horse, fairly obviously. Okay, so all I've done for the phonics is take the vocabulary and the pictures from these very first photo sets to make a phonic activity. And let me show you, here it is. And you can see I've got babies and birds and hands and horses and cars and can't remember what else I've got, cats. So all you do there is ask the children to point to something. So point to something beginning with H. Point to something beginning with K, and so on. If the children can do that fairly easily, they could then take your place, or you could play an activity. And here's the BCH, the Bucker phonic track. And you take your counters, you throw the dice. So say it's 3, 1, 2, 3. You have to, when you land on it, it says huh. So you've got to say huh, and then you must turn to the next child on your left and say, tell me a word beginning with huh. Well, of course, they've already been doing this activity, so they know the word huh for horse or huh for hat, and so they can do it. They throw the dice, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they say buh, tell me a word beginning with buh, and so on. So you've got the children practicing listening and saying and recognising the letters. Well, those are a couple of my thoughts about teaching phonics. First, that we should use vocabulary that the children already know, and that we should check that the children can distinguish between the sounds in the words we're using. And of course, will you be able to do it? Well, of course you'll be able to have those in your mind, but you won't do it perfectly. And don't worry, the children will survive and they will learn. But it's really good if you can add those two ideas to your thinking when you're doing phonics. So have a go at those activities and enjoy teaching.